Greetings, and welcome to your rare, see, almost said Friday, but it is a Saturday, isn't it? Saturday edition of Runescape Weekly. Magebit here. We have Pyrnassius and Derp Dragon joining us today. I'm going to go over into Discord and unmute myself. Oh, looks like Derp Dragon has disappeared here, and my music is a little bit too loud, so I'll just bring it down here. How you doing, Pyrnassius? Welcome.
I am very good this week, or at least good in the world of RuneScape.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. You've had a lot of triumphs.
Been a great week.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I'm glad to hear that. So we can pretty much, I'm assuming, just jump right into the show then. I don't see Derp, but did he leave a message?
No, we
scratch
just
that. Sorry,
yeah.
Hit a massive wave of exhaustion. All right, no worries. Perfect. You can just pull him out of the show then. No worries. We will just rock with that. No problem. Life happens, man. All right, let's go into the show then. On that, stand by. I'm going to just switch myself into the game here. And we will begin the music. The intro music. And I will begin the intro. Like a pro. Hopefully like a pro. That is yet to be determined. In 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for December 15th, 2018. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 17 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Pyrnassius, and on today's show, behind the story, it's behind the lore story. Magebit! Damn it, hang on. Behind the lore story. I screwed that up, so we'll try that again. 3, 2, 1. You're listening to RuneScape Weekly for December 15th, 2018. I'm your host, Magebit, with over 17 years of RuneScape experience. Joining me today is Pyrnassius, and on today's show, Behind the Lore Story, TLDW by Rubic, RuneScape's new IP, likely an action RPG, Exhaustion Rest Animation Unlock, Endgame PSA, Supreme Overload Salve Value, Your First 100 Mil, The Give and Take of Mobile, Nostalgic Moment, and Fired for RuneScape. Thank you for tuning in to this edition of RuneScape Weekly, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to your Saturday edition of RuneScape Weekly. Magebit here. Again, Saturday. Not our normal day, but cool to be here.
We blame Jagex for that.
Yeah, we blame Jagex for messing us up, but that's okay. And I fully blame Jagex for making me type the words wrong and screwing up the intro this time. It's their fault, not mine. So,
but at least the pre-show will get to hear you screw up all the new end cap too.
Oh yeah, so I rewrote the end cap, so hopefully I will actually do the end cap correctly. And then I did a dry run of it in the pre-show, which I totally butchered, but I wasn't fully awake yet. So we're gonna blame it on that. But I butcher it during the show too because I've had one run of it so far. So we'll see. My my improv reading ability has gone down the toilet since I've been on all this new medications. Just like my reading comprehension has taken a dive, unfortunately. I'm working on it. I fully expect to regain all of my superpowers eventually, but it's an uphill battle. Anyway,
it adds to the entertainment value, though. So
yeah, I guess so.
What you lose in one, you gain in the other.
Yeah, like we have the give and take of mobile today. Yeah, there's the give and take of that as well. Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to lead off today, or do you want to lead off? Because I'm lengthy.
Let's let you lead off.
All right. Yeah. I'm long-winded.
Well, okay. No. Yeah. Well, my one's actually fairly quick. I finally got the Master of All.
Yeah, you're just the Master of All.
I am. Bow down, I am the Master of Gillenor now.
Yeah, that's it.
I managed to pick up the Prayer Pit after only a little over 3 mil XP since
that was quick.
Making. So that was really, really good. And
you took your punishment.
In the end, I was starting to do just up the Heffen one up there, and I thought, this is ridiculous how much it's costing me.
Yeah.
And now with the prayer cape, I mean, once you're 99 prayer, the prayer cape acts as having the 2 incense burners already lit. So you just take a pack yak in, and it's very AFK. You know, you sort of click once, pray at altar, it just takes them out of your inventory easily. Then you just click to withdraw from your yak, and it was really quick. And,
is that a new perk?
Yes, that was one of the new perks.
I'm like, I don't remember that being the perk. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, that was the perk. When I did the update perks, that was the update perk. So I thought, you know what, I'm just going to go and... So I bought myself 10,000 bones.
Yeah.
And sold over 7,500 back. So less than 2,500 dragon bones, and picked up the pet Ghostly, and lo and behold, I think it was yesterday. I'm losing days now, but I think it was yesterday when I logged in the morning. Teleported to the farm and gained myself a royal dragon.
Oh, very very nice.
Yes, so just a sacred jack, and then I have completed the breeding logs.
That's amazing. Also, what else is amazing is the subscription by Testicles. Thank you very much, Testicles. I appreciate that. And no problem, Derp Dragon. I hope our dulcet tones help you fall off to sleep. I hope you get a nice rest.
I've been told that I send people to sleep easily, so hey.
Yeah, me too. I've heard that the podcast has been a sleep aid in the past, so I have no problem with that. I use one of my favorite podcasts, Mysterious Universe, which I completely listen to for the entertainment value, let me say. First and foremost, because it's an Australian conspiracy theory podcast, and I think it's hilarious and funny. I love it. One of my favorite. I've been listening to it since like 2006 or so.
I've never heard of it.
MysteriousUniverse.org. Yeah, they've been doing it forever. Benjamin Grundy and Aaron Wright. They're up in New South Wales, I believe.
Oh, that explains why.
That's funny.
That's right next door to DX. You know, you can't trust New South Welshmen.
Gotcha. Figures. Okay. My audio.
Anyway, what have you been doing? We've got some exciting things for you too.
Oh yeah. So what the hell have I been doing? Yeah. So yesterday, I did a 4.5-hour live stream, which you can find on our YouTube channel, or you can find it in the VOD section of our Twitch channel as well. It's over on runescape.video, though. I did Pieces of Hate, which is a great quest if you're not an idiot like me. I took a quest that should have been probably, I don't know, probably maybe about 2 hour, 45 minutes, maybe 2.5 hours. 2 hours if you spacebar the dialogue. And I made it 4 hours and a half because I took about 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, looking for barrels. Right at the end of the quest. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, where you're looking at those barrels for the seagull, a lot of people had trouble there. I mean, it took me, as I said, probably 7 or 8 minutes to find those myself.
I looked at
they just weren't big enough, and it was just happened that I clicked and finally moused over. Oh, hang on, and
I looked at 2 different quest guides, 2 different video quest guides.
Oh wow!
And both of them jump cut over picking up the barrels. They're like, and now you have the barrels, and I was losing my mind. I'm like, but where did you get the barrels?
Oh, wow.
I actually, I smashed in my footrest at one point. I got so mad. I broke my foot. Like, I have no footrest now. Like, tip.runeweek.com. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, it was a really good quest. The quest went from a 9 to a 2, back up to an 8, back up to a 9. It was a good quest. Exactly. That's exactly what I said, Derp Dragon, is they looked like beer mugs to me.
Yes.
They just look like little beer mugs. That's exactly what I said during the quest. Is they looked more like...
when you finally found them.
Yeah, they look like something more like little, like, novelty beer mugs that you'd find at, like a Wild West saloon or something. And I wanted to, like, shoot somebody in the head, mainly myself.
Yeah, that was a part that I was almost tempted towards the end to start looking up a guide because I'm thinking, where the bloody hell? I can't find how to do this seagull thing. And then, as I said, sort of accidentally found it, got that part. And then the end of it, I'll let you get into your part there, though.
Yeah, I mean, so I eventually just stumbled upon them by accident. Like, I looked it up in a guide, and I saw the image of them in the guide. Like, I saw it in their inventory. So once I had a picture of it in my mind, I just saw it upstairs. And once I saw it in my mind, I was like, oh my god, they're just sitting on top of these barrels, on top of other barrels. And I'm like, those aren't barrels. What? Oh, and then I'm like, YouTube is gonna murder me. And the the comments, like, so I put a warning on the on the video. I'm like, you're gonna want to skip 40 minutes of like the Brain Death Island section if you watch this, because it's not good. It's not good at all.
But if you're talking all the way through, it'll be excellent, because just hearing that mage rage is great entertainment.
Maybe, I mean, like, there was a good 9 to 15 people at any given time, like, just sitting there in silence, just watching me lose my mind.
That's what I find even funny. You've actually had people watching you, and no one said, "Hey, just look on the pillar there." Great friends.
I mean, Derp. There was a few people like Derp and Bunny. At the end, there was only like 4 people left, like the true hardcore friends, who were just like, "We don't know what to do, man." Like, once everyone had who had just been like, "This is just sad now," you know.
That's so awesome.
But yeah, eventually it just yeah, and I was at the end of it. When I found them, I burst out laughing. Like, it was hilarious when I finally.
You feel like such an idiot.
Yeah.
How did I miss that in all that time?
Yeah, I felt like the biggest moron.
Although mine, as I said, mine was like, it's 6, 7, maybe 8 minutes, not 40 minutes, but still.
But everything else about the quest, the dialogue was hilarious. All the other puzzles were fun. The defending the island was a little monotonous, but overall, I didn't mind it too much. I thought it dragged it a little longer than I would have liked, but it wasn't too bad. The interface for defending the island was not the best. It was a little confusing to understand what it wanted me to do. I kind of just naturally, instinctively kind of figured it out myself, kill the zombies and break the things. And like, because of NXT and NIS, like, and interfaces is like, it put this thing in the top left corner, but like, I have stuff up there, Jagex. So like, all of my stuff was covering that interface, so I couldn't see. So like, I look up there and I'm like, oh shit, treasure hunters covering the interface. I'm like, damn it, I've been foiled by microtransactions again. Like, it was just a whole funny, like, the whole thing was funny. I highly recommend that quest. It's a good time, but it has its flaws, of course, but like, it's the overall atmosphere and the dialogue and yeah.
And the underwater city was beautiful.
Oh my god, yeah, I took a snapshot. That's the album cover for the, like, oh, it was so beautiful. The artwork and the thank you for bringing that up, because the ambient sounds down there and
yes. Good point. Always play it with sounds on.
Yeah.
I mean, I always play quests with sounds on anyway, but that is one that you really does. Even though it's not voice acted, the sounds on that one really.
Yeah, the ambient sounds down there, and just kind of like that. You're just moonwalking through the crashed ship, and you're got the beautiful lighting, going through. And I mean, beautiful on RuneScape scale. It's hard to be beautiful, and RuneScape just does a really good job with its limited engine abilities. They're stretching it to the limit, and they're doing a really good job with what they have. And I was really impressed, very impressed. It's really making me want to go and do another quest. Did
you go back afterwards?
Where? Oh, to Mostly Harmless? Or
no, to the underwater city afterwards.
no, I didn't know you could or should.
Oh, you can go back there again. But it's funny because you know the bodies that are sort of slowly sinking.
Yeah, it was funny.
They're still dead bodies that are slowly sinking, even though you've sort of finished.
That was funny.
So it's there.
As I was slowly coming down, I panned my camera because I was like, it was so beautiful as you're slowly coming down. I have one angle as my character's kind of like floating down the abyss, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then also a body is just flying down. And I'm like, oh no, just like the mood immediately changes. Just like I love the juxtaposition. Like just like, oh, I love this quests. Like just completely just changes every second. And for the humor gets you in like the dark humor though. It's always dark humor, like that Mod Raven dark humor.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I love it. Oh. Anyway, have I done anything else? No, that's about it.
No, just the end of it. The end fight.
The fight.
That's where I struggled. Where it took me. I didn't realize about breaking the chains because again, I don't use a guide when I do quests. I just like to do them sort of blind. It took me ages to realize with those chains that you had to break, but you said you managed to find those okay.
Yeah, I was surprised again to I did it pretty much on my first try. I expected to die on my first try. If you watch my fight, I even say like this is gonna be my kind of my test run. I'm not gonna bother bringing a pet in with me with extra food in it, which I didn't even know if you could. But I was like, this will just be like to test out the mechanics and yada yada yada. But yeah, I saw like these bubbles and I was like, well, what's going on here? Then I realized when I tried to touch the bubbles, it's like you can't do that. Well, Jack's up, and then I realized, oh, you take his health down and he goes into this bubble invincible phase. So I was like, all right. But put two and two together, and I was like, okay. Then that pretty much the only reason I was able to pretty much do that. I take the credit. I take credit for. I give Derp Dragon credit for that for taking me to like Elite Dungeons and kind of putting those mechanical type like things in my mind. Because I probably wouldn't have thought to do something like that.
As you got towards the end, where you had to sort of drink the rum to stop the screen from sort of doing that weird spinny, make you sick. I didn't realize. I got told afterwards. There's, I think it's a little cat that sits outside. Mm-hmm. You talk to it, and it'll actually turn that off. So for people, if you do sort of suffer from anything, epilepsy or anything like that, they can be triggered by those type of things. You can actually turn that off outside.
Oh, good.
So, and even if you are struggling with that, you just go out there and turn that off yourself anyway.
Yeah, they mentioned this quest had some issues with things for people with motion and epileptic problems.
Yep. But yeah, and right at the end, obviously with Zautak, and that sort of leads in. I have the script written for the next or this month's Gillenor Origins, which is obviously on Zautak. Yes.
Interesting.
So with the end of what happened with Moya and such, and obviously going into next year, I think we're going to be hearing a lot more about him. So I thought it might be opportune time to go into it and sort of find. There's actually quite. I didn't realize quite how much information was out there on Zautak.
Sweet.
He's been around since 2006, apparently.
Oh, cool. That makes me hopeful for a juicy episode.
Yeah, it's almost 6 pages long.
Oh,
so
wow.
It's actually going to be I wrote the script and I'm writing around going, Jesus, this is going to take forever. I've actually got to lock away sort of 30 or 40 minutes where there's going to be sort of no sound around, so I can just record it all.
Nice. Cool beans. That's awesome to hear. So that's kind of a PSA. You want me to lead into the other PSAs here?
Yes. Yeah. Let's get into the PSAs.
Cool. Our first PSA is just a quick thank you to our latest $5 patron, Ryan7. I just want a quick thank you for supporting the show. Again, you can support the show over at patreon.com/RuneScape if you want to do that and get blogs and our pre-shows and all sorts of stuff. We had a good pre-show today, I think. Yeah. That'll be going up right after we finish the show today. Anyway, there's also a PSA for auto regens. Going to have a toggle in the game pretty soon coming from Mod Pi. Be added to the Togglescape menu. So if you like auto regenerate, you'll be able to do that when coming out of combat. You won't have to automatically press your button anymore. If you have that assigned to a button, you don't have to waste a button anymore. Free up that keybind, if you will. And I have another big PSA, probably one of our bigger PSAs for the year. We got that end of the year show coming up soon, which we don't have an exact date for yet, but I do have a huge thank you to Private Tucker, who came together and put our end of the year mega show notes together for us, so we would have a nice, smooth show to do. So huge thank you, because that is just a big chunk of work off of my plate. And now we just have to pretty much plan a time and figure out who wants to be on the show and all that nonsense.
I'm just having a look on that sort of Mod Pi tweet where it's got the auto regenerate. And the top comment or the top liked comment is some dick saying, "Make an option for automatic leave a thumbs down as I log out, thanks."
Why?
I give them the thumbs up every time because I enjoy
mostly
the game. If you need to automatically have a thumbs down every time, you're playing the wrong game, mate.
Right. I may have hit the thumbs down button 400 or 500 times while looking for the barrels of rum. Maybe. I like to think that every thumbs up that I have pressed previous to that have countered, has made up for that.
That's funny.
I was a little angry though, and I did press thumbs down. So I think we can get into our main meat and potato topic then. Yeah.
Yes, so the reason the show is delayed is they normally do their streams on Tuesday. So I thought, beauty, I blocked away. I made sure I had nothing on Wednesday morning, so I could get up at 3 a.m. Watch the live stream because it's my Tuesday because it comes on Wednesday morning at sort of 3 a.m. for me. So I said, right, get up. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be all set. And then realize it's not on. It's they made it Friday this week for some reason.
Yeah, what's up with that? I guess they probably wanted to they probably wanted to duck out of whatever duties they had on Friday early so they could do a quick live stream and then get out of work,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, we know what they're like.
You want to lead me off here? You want to jump in?
Do you want me to read it?
Yeah, start me off here with the world events.
World events, yep. Predictions/rigging. We never decided in advance what would happen and who would win. They actually expected Zamorak to win, and they have said that before.
I found that interesting.
Yeah. No, they said that at the time. They were really expecting Zamorak to win because
they think we're all a bunch of 12-year-old edgelords.
Well, but also because Sarah Diamond, to them was always a bit of a dick too, and they thought, a lot of players thought that way as well. But anyway, so they were actually surprised that Sarah Diamond won, and they also expected that Armadil would lose since there wasn't any law around him in comparison to Bando. So they sort of, again, it just shows how fickle either the community is or maybe how out of touch they actually are with what the community wants. That they got them both wrong. The storyboards and cutscenes were developed as the winner became more obvious. And they also said with the Zamorak one, they'd actually had the actual storyboards for Zamorak winning pretty much done. They hadn't created the cutscenes, obviously, but the storyboard for Zamorak winning was actually done before the event come out. They were expecting him to win. They had a
bunch of it done.
So I found that really funny.
Yeah.
And people saying, it was rigged. And in World Event 1, they actually admitted, yes, we rigged the bar midway through it.
Yeah. Right?
So, because apparently Saradomin was almost 99% to 1%. So
Yeah.
they rigged it so it wouldn't show more than 75%. So that didn't look like Zamorak was losing by as much as he was.
Complete washout.
Yeah, that's it. So I had a good laugh over that, thinking, I wasn't a big Zamorak fan, so I was on the side of Saradomin for that, but only because to me he was the lesser of two evils. But yeah, it was really funny to see that. Their what-if scenarios, Saradomin is currently in control of human areas. So if Zamorak had have won, he would have been in control of them. So that was what they were sort of talking about. This would have been a difficult task to accomplish due to all the lore fails, since...
Can you imagine that?
Obviously, all the cities in there are predominantly Saradomin, so if Zamorak won, they'd have to sort of look at doing what would happen there. So I found that really... really interesting.
I didn't think of that before. Like until they brought that up, until they actually brought that up, that never crossed my mind. And then I was like, that's a lot of work.
Yeah. And I follow the lore a lot, and it didn't even sort of occur to me that the cities are sort of Saradomin based, so it was it would have been interesting to sort of see. It would have required a lot of work to make sure the content still behaved correctly. And then on to Tusker. If Tusker won, the world wouldn't have been gone, but they were just going to do sort of cosmetic damage around it. So similar to what the Dragonkin did to Edgeville. You just have sort of damaged buildings and all that type of stuff around. Story-wise, there probably would have been a loss of anima. And dishonor among thieves likely would not have occurred if Tusker had won as well.
Interesting. I mean, that would be awesome. Actually, that quest sucks. That freaking.
I like that quest.
I burst a freaking capillary in my eyeball because of that freaking don't get caught by the puzzle section. Yeah, and then all the monsters coming from the different doors in the...
That didn't bother me so much. More that Moya one where you had to get the brain thing right. That was annoying.
That was also annoying. It was all annoying. I take it back. It all sucked.
Yeah. A lot of these... Just because you couldn't move... Like the game tick. It was great. If you didn't have a game tick, I think it would have been right. But the game tick was not ready for that type of...
yes, I agree.
Yeah.
If this quest was in Dark Souls, and I'm sorry to make a Dark Souls reference, but if this game was in Legend of Zelda or a game that had full movement of the full response, yes, it would work. But it doesn't work in a game that has this laggy response where you're trying to do precise movements. And I'm not going to get off on that rant. We all know. Continue on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. That's that's it. That's
Wait, let me just read some comments real quick before we get back in. I think Derp's calling me a psychopath or something. Hang on. He says, when it comes to video games, I'm a 12-year-old edgelord at all times. I mean, when you make an evil god, it's hard to make them redeemable. They're unrelatable, like Zaros and Zamorak. And then I asked, why?
Hang on.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to jump in there. Zaros is not an evil god. Seren is more evil than Zaros is.
Well, that's a hot take right there.
And actually, okay, I'm just going to write this down. My next series is going to be Zaros and Seren. I'll see if I can do them both together, or if I do one after the other.
I would actually. Hey, can you do a Can you do a series, not a series, but a video explaining why, why Seren is actually evil?
I can tell you right now why she is. She basically wiped out every race on Fremennik by dragging their life force and causing them to sacrifice. Sorry, on Runescape, by causing them to sacrifice themselves and dragging their life force, all to try and keep Mar alive. But she was basically responsible for multiple genocides.
Okay, so she's committed genocide, and
yes. Multiple genocides.
Not multiple genocides. Okay, so she's pretty damn evil. And Zaros,
He wants to protect the world and keep everything going. Yes, he wants to be elevated to an elder god. Yes, there's probably, he is self-serving in that regard. But hey, he wants to keep the world going and not just have it destroyed like all the other cosmoses have been over time, where they just destroy it and start again.
Now, I'm sorry to completely derail things here, but I'm seeing some psychology behind Seren, right? Like, she committed these multiple genocides to keep her mother alive, right? Now, I'm not saying it's right, but she was doing it because of a traumatized action, right? Not a good reason, but she was traumatized herself in trying to keep her mother alive here. Like, there's a noble cause behind it, not a malicious cause behind it, right? So is she evil, or was she desperate? Like,
to kill the many to save the one, then there's something wrong with that.
Something wrong, yes. I agree with that. It's definitely something inherently wrong with her.
If there was
depraved
people of Runescape alive, and you had to wipe out sort of one race to keep the entire planet alive or something. Okay, I could sort of sacrifice a few to save the many for the good of the many, but not
sacrifice them all.
Not the other way. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Okay. There you go. Okay, all right, let's continue on.
Yeah,
Poor old Zeros just murdered a few people. Philosophy class here. Cool, let's continue on.
Yes, so the Six Age themes may have changed to be anti-authoritarian, whether Zamorak and Bandos won. These two gods winning would imply players want to be destructive. In Nomad's Elegy, instead of working against Nomad, the players would work alongside him. That would obviously be very hypothetical. So that was sort of what they were talking about with those. I hope they go on to it later on. If they don't, just remind me what they were talking about, the Six Age and the and that type of thing that they were sort of discussing.
Anime Praise saying there as well. I never followed lore. What happened to Guthix? Guthix was taken down eventually by the Majorats, basically the entire Sliske and the Majorats, right? Or was it basically
Sliske? Pretty basically Sliske. Yeah, Sliske ran in to help us. Goes, quick, let's go, save him. Okay. And he turns around and goes, thanks for getting me down here. Stabs him.
Wonderful. See, I'm not the best on lore either, which is why I ask these questions. He died of lameness, thanks to. I myself am a Guthixian first. And a Zerosian second.
Yep.
But
I'm the second. I still am Guthixian, but Zaros, I like what he's standing for and what he's trying to do.
Yeah, so I mean, he's alive, that kind of it helps. It helps to be alive.
Basically, I don't disagree with what he's doing and such, so I will back him, but he's
audio cable.
Yeah. He's more like someone I sort of agree with rather than someone I sort of would worship. And I'll follow his lead, but I don't worship him as like.
Well, here's the thing: I'm almost about like when the next World Guardian series comes along, I'm almost ready to just work for myself. Like, screw these gods. I'm about to just be like, yo, I'm the World Guardian. F you people. I don't. I follow nobody. Anyway, where are we?
So anyway, pulling from other games, we do pay attention to the industry as a whole and try to learn from other games' successes and failures. For example, Her Story with Needle Skips. If another MMO does something and it's a disaster, or one thing could change, and what they were talking about there is, they may have an idea and then sort of another MMO does it, but it fails badly. They can say, we saved all that money there, and they can just bin it. RuneScape is a unique game, so not everything translates the same way. Fortnite events are more flexible due to not being restricted by maintaining existing content, such as quests. We could take existing in-game content and alter them for world events for a period of time. For example, Brassica Prime takes over the God Wars dungeon and turns things into cabbages. I will quit if that ever happens. If we do world events again, we probably won't do the binary outcome. It feels like a vote on the storyline, which doesn't work either way. So I like that if they do another world event, it's not going to be one or the other. You don't have just two tracks. It's going to be, it's still going to follow a good storyline. So,
it was storylines. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, that's what they said. They're basically going to have it, and it's just going to track the way they want it to track, rather than okay, you vote, so we've got to all of a sudden go down this path instead of that path, and things like that. And on to other players would swap to the side that was winning, and we saw that with the Bandos one, because Bando, when the first few days they were fairly even, and then Armadillo just started to creep ahead. And then all of a sudden, it was like everyone deserted Bandos, and Armadillo just went bang straight up.
Yeah, and everyone asks me, "Hey, Magebit, where'd you get the veteran title?" And I say, "World Event 2, Bandos team."
Yep, you stuck with Bandos.
Yep.
I maxed out the Armadillo, and I jumped over to Bandos to try and get that, but I only got to the second tier, I think.
Yeah. So yeah.
Players proved they wanted the good side to win. In the future, we'd want consequences and threats to be plausible. And obviously, with Tusker being a world eater and all that, it wasn't really plausible that she'd come down and just destroy the whole planet. So.
Yeah, like obviously we knew the game wasn't going to be switched off, because then everyone would be out of a job.
That's it. The difference between quests and world events: quests will resolve eventually, but a world event, this may not be the case. And quests will typically have one outcome, but in a world event, it's been a choice. Bam. So, yeah, that's the differences there.
Cool stuff. Moving on, shall I?
Yes.
Lore talk. So, talking about lore, we want to put more lore in the game rather than talking about it outside the game, obviously via streams like this. More information was known about Elder Gods outside the game before Heart of Stone, partly why it was unpopular. We could explain Zautuk now, but we'd prefer to answer it through gameplay. Lore talks are now more of a campfire discussion as to how we come up with stories and why we made certain decisions. So, yeah, they want to basically make them, dissections and autopsies rather than telling the actual stories out, and I like that. I think that's a better idea.
Lore should always be discovered in game and have a discussion once the event has happened, but don't tell us it all before it comes up.
I'll use, as you were maybe something you might be familiar with, it's like Walking Dead and Talking Dead, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
definitely.
And so moving on, it's like
very good analogy, actually.
Yeah, corny dialogue. Comes from Stu. He does puns and examines. Raven, he does dark humor. Rowley is silly names. Ramen gives the memes and the pop culture reference. That's why I'm always bashing on ramen. Pop culture references seem to be the most noticed and recognized. Well, that's because they're pop culture references, sillies. It's like, that's saying, well, the sky seems to be blue today. Favorite references seem to be Stu slaughtering zombies in the Death of Chivalry, Jack's Gower Quest, maxed argument Star Wars references, and Raven's Chester Wisp reference in the Lost Grove. Moving on to quest discussions. Wow, that one's quite long. Do you want to? We should probably do every other. Want to do every other? That's one really long.
Yeah, we'll do every one.
All right.
I'll do the first one.
Start it off. Yeah. Okay. Go for it.
Quest themes. The tone affects things. Quests that are silly and fun have been done well, but anything too serious or too silly is bad. And they were talking about that. They actually went into quite lengthy discussion about this one. And saying people, and that's the whole thing. People like just the quirky, fun type quests that Jagex traditionally have done, and then lately they've sort of gone that real serious mode, which is great occasionally, but we had an entire year of it, and I think people just got sick of it. Then the really silly ones,
I'm all for a mixture of both. It's all about a balance. You got to strike a balance, and you got to feel out the air. You got to feel out what people want.
That's it, and it's great to have those really high intensity, serious quests to bring in, good, heavy lore type stuff.
Yeah.
You have your little Euro-Rick ones, which are great, fun little quests. Silly. I mean, the only penguin quest that I actually liked was the last one, where everyone seemed to be upset about it. But that was pretty. Yeah, it was a silly one, but I sort of enjoyed that one. But I think
I liked it.
Yeah, so did I. But that's it. I mean, that is what Jagex has always been known for, is those quirky, fun type quests. So stick to what works for your players.
See, I loved the Fate of the Gods series. I think Sliske's endgame went on too long. I think what you have to do, again, like I was mentioning about balance, is making sure that you don't put a series in a row too long. It's okay to have something like Sliske's endgame be 8 quests long, but maybe not in a row. Sliske's endgame came pretty much almost entirely in a row. Like, as far as its questing, we got like almost all of those sequentially. What would have been better, in my opinion, would have been like one of those, then a silly quest, then maybe another one of those, then maybe a more lighthearted quest. And that's it's about mixing things up. You don't have to do. Yes. I don't want a year of Sliske's endgame. I want. Yeah. You gotta mix up the storylines, or otherwise you're gonna make us too tired of one story. Go ahead.
Yeah, that was their biggest issue. I think was just doing it all in a row, because we've never had a storyline that has done that. And yes, I think they basically because of what happened in that length of time between Pyrnassius from beginning to end, but they went totally the opposite way, and I think they force it too much. I think 3 years on a quest that's sort of 3 or 4 years on a quest that is 5 or 6 chapters long is fine, but to put them all in 1 year was just way too much, and that's where it really did.
I understand their other fear. See, it's almost like it's an overcompensation, right? Because at the other end, you have going, again, like you said, 5-6 years without doing the finale to a quest. Also is the other extreme, where nobody remembers what the hell happened in the series, right? And you don't want that either. But
and the other thing that they were saying with that is, when the writers leave,
and
that does. I mean, that can throw it right out on you.
Yeah,
so
that can too.
It really is. You're stuck between a rock and a hard place with something like that.
Yeah.
But if say they do. Say they have something like that and they bring out 2 chapters of it each year. So it's sort of every 6 months you've sort of got an ongoing thing, and just have some little fun, quirky ones in between. I think that would be much better than sort of just feeding the whole thing all at once like that. Because, I love those series, but by the end of it, it was like, this is getting a little much.
I wanted to break Sliske's face with a sledgehammer by the end of it. Like, I was sick of hearing his voice.
And
the sad thing is I made up his voice in my head, because he doesn't he doesn't have a voice. Pretty sure. I'm going crazy. So by the end of that quest series, I was done with him.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would.
I'm not saying I never want to see him again. I was fatigued by that series.
Well, that's one thing I'm wondering when see Zhao Tak sort of come into the game, being sort of like a deity of the dead and that type of thing. I hope
Zhao Tak is a giant cotton candy monster, like a giant black cotton candy monster.
No, it's full of tendrils and just spreads out that way. But it'll be interesting to see whether it brings back Sliske.
No, it wouldn't be.
Because it does resurrect a lot of dead NPCs. So
hopefully it brings back Nomad then.
Oh, not Nomad.
And on that note, where are we?
Let's bring back Guthix.
Yeah, maybe we'll bring back.
Okay, so anyway, let me keep going. That was went off on a bit of a tangent.
That was probably one of our best derails, though. It was a derail that actually remained on topic, though. Somehow, continue.
Pieces of Hate is more a default tone we would go for, and quests more sort of serious or silly than that would be more rare. And I think they did get that sort of that perfect in the Pieces of Hate.
Yeah.
Enough of that seriousness with a bit of comedy and all that.
God,
they did it really well.
I like I was saying, I laughed. I actually like belly chuckled, and I was furious at different parts. Like it was great. It was a roller coaster of emotions, not being joking at all. It was excellent and bad at the same time.
Yeah, no, it did it really well.
Yep.
Recent quests have been very dark and serious. We have sort of discussed that. As long as the storyline is sensible, people are fine with having a silly element. And that's right. I mean, that's what Jagex is known for.
Yep.
Silly quests isn't an excuse to not take lore seriously, and that's it. They do all that properly. We need to make sure it fits in the game. Well, now this is the one that sort of pissed me off a little bit when they said people complain about the Gower quest, and they said, Gower quest may have missed the mark. Well, the Gower quest was written by the Gowers for that type of quirkiness. There was no real lore involved. It was a fun quest that was done for fun.
Yeah.
There was nothing to be, you didn't take it seriously. It was there just to really enjoy, to bring them back, to make that 15-year anniversary. Just give us something memorable for that. So it annoyed me when they said it missed the mark. I did not think it. I thought it was on a bullseye with that one.
I had a great time with it. I don't know what about it missed the mark. I'd like for them to expound upon that and say what about it missed the mark.
Yeah, as I said, I reckon it hit a bullseye. And then Beneath Cursed Tides doesn't ground itself perfectly in the lore.
That I agree with.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was Beneath Cursed Tides was the tutorial island underground, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's the underwater tutorial island. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and again, it doesn't have to ground itself perfectly in the lore because, again, it was just a sort of
it doesn't ground itself at all in the lore now because Tutorial Island is no longer underwater.
Yeah, well, exactly.
That's the problem. It's literally a paradox.
Yeah.
So what do we like?
But I mean, they brought that back, and it's. Again, as a quest for the time it was released, I thought it did a fine job.
Sure, for the time, but what do you do with it now? And also, it hosts one of the most popular monthly D&Ds. Yeah, it's like, can you leave the D&D in place and just delete the quests? Yeah, that's what I would do. Just leave the giant oyster and the water watermancer, ocean mancer, water philiac, whatever the hell that person is, ocean diver, water toucher, lady. I don't know. She lets you dive down there and touch the oyster. She lets you touch her oyster. All right, let's move along.
Oh, not good.
I'm sorry.
And you can take over from
reworking quest. So again, a good segue. That quest needs to be reworked. But anyway, Rowley, do the Menaphos quest differently. First quest is fine. But make Frondist more of a sister quest to Do No Evil, rather than rush to finish a Pharaoh's storyline. I'd also restart the entire Desert series properly if that was possible. I mean, I don't want to restart it. You can restart it. I don't want to restart it. That scares the crap out of me, because I heard them saying if they're going to restart quests, then everyone has to restart them. And I don't want to redo the desert quests because I hate the desert quests.
And again, this type of thing is...
Pop over to chat here in a second.
You're looking at a quest that sort of began 15 years ago. So yes, things are going to be different and such in it. You've just got to build upon that and make sure you take the lore in the correct direction. But to say, we want to rewrite it and do it, that type of thing, well... Every 5 years, you'll be rewriting old quests because there'll be new things, or we wish we had have done this, or we wish we had have done that. Let's just rewrite the quest and do it again. I don't like that idea of saying yes, we want to do this type of thing.
Sorry, I was answering chat there.
No, that's okay.
In regards to the whole Tutorial Island thing, shall I move along here?
Yeah.
So, Stu, every quest I can do to take improvements where I can. The Camelot series, make it more creative within the world. Currently, it's an ingrained in-game it would be difficult to do so. So that's another sore thumb in the game, right? Like Camelot, it's public domain, right? Like it can be like it is what it is. Like it's a classic of the Breton world, right? So it can be there.
And that's the thing. They were able to remove the Romeo and Juliet note at all, but this one, because there's so much that you get from it that opens up into other parts of the game, and can't. Oh, let's just delete this quest because because you need things that are in there.
But why not just retheme it? Don't call it Camelot. Change it to like an emissary of the White Knights. Like they're trying to like bridge out and recapture. You know, like how you send out like what do you call it when you're trying to claim new land? You know. You send out like emissaries, right? But there's a different word for it. They're not emissaries.
Yeah, I know what you're talking. What you're talking about, but I can't think of it now.
Yeah, me either. But you send out those like camps of like knights, and and it's basically like a forward operating base in military terms. And that's what I would do with it, and just make it one of those. And it's just like I know, but there's still Merlin's crystal in there. So obviously, you rename that and you make it to do with anima. Obviously, come on, use your noodle. Hire me, Jagex.
I mean, that's if they did do it, and they'd have to keep basically all the rewards and the actual quest line the same, but just redo.
Yes. You just retcon everything. And you keep everything the same. You just change all the names. You reskin everything, and you just fit it within the universe. It's not that hard to do. Yeah, people are. You're getting all the conservative people who don't want the game to change are going to complain about it, but if you truly want it to fit within the world, that's what you have to do. I personally don't care. Like, it's Camelot. I don't care. Like, when I did it when I was 12 years old, I thought it was magical. I loved it. I had a good time. If you want to get rid of it, go ahead. If you want to leave it there, go ahead. I don't see it. I'm never there. Like, it doesn't bother me one way or another. Who is this bothering? That's what I want to know. Like,
I'm there all the time.
Who are you? You hang out there? You have tea parties?
No, because I
hanging out with Merlin
with quests and things.
Charging your JO crystal over there. What?
when you're doing quests, not quests. When you're doing clue scrolls, a lot of them.
I got you.
In there. So,
does the castle offend you? Does Merlin's presence offend you? Like
it does. It's just it was part of the game.
Does his beady eyes staring into yours? Like,
I mean, you don't really. It's just a castle because you just run in, you go upstairs, you open the
like, do you even associate it with like Arthurian lore?
Not at all.
Me either.
Not at all. Yep. So
I don't know. I feel like people who make so much ado about the castle being associated with Arthurian lore are like just making much ado about nothing.
That's it. They're part of the perpetually outraged society.
Action Cat has offended the world is no longer called RuneScape. Don't worry, there are plenty RuneScape NPCs inside the world that are still rebelly holding out and calling the world RuneScape. I personally have found plenty that they haven't changed yet, and I'm not reporting them. Let's see here. Jack Ictherlin's little helper. Wow. See, if I either screw up the word Ictherlin or I'll screw up one of the words next to it.
Yeah, no, you got the hard one right, and then the other one.
Yeah, it's impossible if you're gonna say that word, you're either gonna mess up that word or you're gonna screw up one of the words around it. It's collateral damage. The word itself is a weapon. Yeah, that damn dog. All right, if you're gonna help Ghost Doggo's little helper, it feels more of a chance than a quest. More of a choice than a quest? Chore than a quest. Third word's the charm there. Potentially introduce characters better. Yeah, Icthurin's little helper is, again, they're all bad quests, but yeah.
It was mediocre.
Yeah. The Desert series is all mediocre, if you ask me. Raven says he would love to replace the Mighty Falls for Rite of Passage. I think he's pandering to the audience with that one.
Well, yeah, and then he said it with tongue in cheek. But see, that's the thing. I wanted Rite of Passage for so long, but it's jumped the shark now. I don't care one way or the other anymore. It's not one that I'll be excited about.
Now I'm all about Infernus now.
Yeah, exactly. We've moved on.
Yeah, I want new things. Let's see. But seriously, salt in the wound. Yeah, that's a horrible. They fix that a little bit. It's still really bad.
They did. Yeah,
Apparently, it's so bad.
A few years ago.
You've got a whole section to read about it. Go right ahead.
Yes, Salt in the Wound. It was one of the first quests that Mod Osborne was a design reviewer upon. His design philosophy seemed to shine in it like it does in other quests. So I don't know what they were sort of really meaning there, because generally he's really good with his quests and lore and stuff.
Maybe I think I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say maybe what they're trying to say is he bit off more than he could chew with this. Maybe he's a little overzealous. Just a guess, because this is it's a really interesting idea. It falls wildly short due to engine.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and also it was his first or one of the first quests. So maybe over time he got obviously over time he did get better because he's one of the best. And we just have to see the Euro quest to sort of know how good he got towards the end.
Sure.
His design philosophy... I know we read that. The Slug series lore is really good, and its elements could be built off of which Salt in the Wound did not accomplish as well. And, yeah, I sort of agree with that. Again, I wasn't a big fan of the whole Slug series, but it had a lot of potential, and I think they could have done more with it. So I sort of agree what they sort of said there. Most players don't want the quest to be reworked since it's already been implemented. The results were based on a straw poll in which 42 people voted.
Oh, good. Strong majority.
Yeah. It's better to retcon a few issues out and continue beyond that to fix various issues. Mechanically, the quest was good, but it was just implemented in the wrong quest series. Kenneth deciding to be older, and it feels weird and it's random, even if it's justified by his magic powers. The dungeoneering requirements were shoehorned in due to a business point of view, needing to encourage players to train it. So yeah, it came out around that same time, and we had to do that run through the dungeon type thing. That just didn't seem to fit in properly with it. A Clockwork Syringe also did it, but it was implemented in a better way, and one of a kind shoehorned in a divination requirement. So yeah, I don't like shoehorning in skills if it's not necessary.
I wonder if they do that purely to add value to skills, or add value to or like add difficulty to quests. Probably on the other end, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, I'll continue on here with quests mid-design changes. Quests evolve quite a bit in the development process, as you might imagine. Death of Chivalry was rewritten 3 times due to trying to figure out the characterization of Sarah Dahlman. They apparently settled on asshole. Cutscenes art were commissioned beforehand, and he was depicted as having a hissy fit. An initial design has him being more joyful, so there was a problem transitioning him from that to hissy fit. Stu said, I wouldn't retcon it, but instead would correct it in future characterizations. So they want to kind of go back on that? Sounds like? A little bit? Not exactly... I don't know. Interesting. Midway through the development, there was feedback from Children of Ma about the deal Zamorak and Zeros made. It was a major plot point, and there wasn't enough assets or resources to build much upon it. As a result, the bargain between Zeros and Saren and gods came up. It led to an interesting story such as I can't even say that name, Adstresia, which is planned to be included and built upon in the future. So there's going to be
That is, the deal between Zaros and Zamorak, and then all of a sudden we find out, well, hey, there's one between Armadil and Zaros, and there's one between Saradomin, and I mean that they didn't need to. They could have left it. Yes, he's made a deal with Zamorak for the future. They didn't need to force it into Sliskay's end game. They could have just kept it there, and it's something that could have come up in the future. And that's the thing. Again, that detracted a bit from Sliskay's endgame, where all of a sudden well, why has he got these other deals with people? And they're trying to retcon fit that back in as well. So, when things like that happen, if it doesn't fit, keep it aside. We're not children. We don't have to have everything force fed like that. If something has to change, or we're not sure what's going to happen, or it doesn't fit properly. It's like, as I said, I don't think they had enough time to finish Sliske's Endgame, which is why we got two of the same puzzle basically.
Yeah.
I had a good laugh about it because I just looked at it and I thought
I did not.
that is exactly the type of thing that Sliske would do. It fits Sliske's personality and Mod Raven. So Mod Raven, I sort of look at as the earthly embodiment of Sliske, just that sort of evil genius, likes to have fun type thing. So it worked for me, but personally, I think the real reason that they did it that way is they just didn't have enough time to finish it properly, because they said, it was going to be wrapped up in that 12-month period. So December 15th come around, and they just had to get that quest out.
Maybe that might. I never thought of it like that. I figured that he just hated us as players and wanted it to suffer a little bit more. But that could be a possibility, that they just wanted to get it out and thought, hey, that's a quick way to add difficulty.
I honestly think, because they said that they had to have it out by the end of the year, and I think they just had to rush it, and they just couldn't do exactly what they wanted to do.
Very common in the games
they had
industry.
Left.
Yeah, that's safe. I wouldn't. I
would rather, don't give me dates. Just tell me this is a quest series we're doing. That's why I would have loved to see it more spread over 3 years rather than compressed in 1 year. Anyway,
go ahead.
Moving on, choices in quests. Sliske's Endgame series informed us on how to approach choice in the future. Overall, it wasn't as positive, as it stopped people completing quests in order to make the correct choice. As a result, we made it so the end result doesn't matter as much, and we tied it together. Our goal is to remove that feeling if wanting to make the correct choice by making the choice affect that singular quest. It concludes the same way regardless of that choice, however. If other games who use choice as their story narrative had similar outcomes. Telltale Mass Effect players didn't feel satisfied or feel as if their choice had the impact they desired for it. People like choice, but you give up a lot to make it happen, since everything has a cost to make. It's twice as much work for us, but the player only gets to experience a portion of it. And unfortunately, the time spent in making it so choice works has gone somewhat to waste. And they had a really good analogy to that with the talking about the Avengers series, the choice there. They make two movies, but you get the choice, and you can only watch one of them. The other one you're never allowed to see. Yeah. And the people who make the other choice get to see that one, but they can't see the one you see. And I thought that's actually a good point.
Yeah, that was a really good way of kind of describing it to lay people. Yeah, I like that.
Well, exactly right. And I think people sort of suddenly understood that, hey, it's not, it's not cheap to make these type of things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a huge amount of resources, and you can't replay most of these quests, so there is a huge amount of resources that are just never seen by most people. Yeah. Continuing on to Stone of Jas. Why did you destroy the Stone of Jas? It was a group decision to take this narrative approach. The Stone of Jas's storyline is basically just a repeating pattern. Gods fight over it, and then the dragon can get stronger and angry until they eventually destroy the world, and the cycle repeats. Works well for a backstory, but not for an ongoing story. Well, it would be easy to write narratives on how each god obtains and interacts with it. It would be difficult to develop it. Solo games can do this, but for MMOs, it would ruin the immersion for new players. The current plan is a problem and would get resolved, and someone else would take its place. We changed up the rules by breaking it, so now there are new concerns. How will the Dragonkin change? Will the gods find something new to fight over? How would the Elder Gods react?
It's all interesting.
That sort of
is. Yeah, well, that's when we destroyed it. That's one thing I thought. Well, hang on, the Elder Gods need all these artifacts when they're creating worlds and all that. So how can you actually destroy one of their artifacts like that? And
what happens?
It still doesn't really explain to me that and why it was necessary to destroy it, and even why it could be destroyed. Because being an Elder God artifact, I don't think it should have been able to be destroyed. Maybe hidden completely from everyone. Sent. I mean, I don't know how you could have done it.
So how was the stone destroyed? Who destroyed the stone? Can that be briefly explained?
The Dragonkin come in and destroyed it at the end, I think it was.
So the Dragonkin destroyed their own stone.
Let me just...
That just sounds equivalent to just shooting yourself just in the nuts.
Let me... Yeah, no, it was the crazy one come in at the end of it when
the crazy
it was
one.
going to be claimed by, I think, because we were racing Armadillo, and either we won it or
is that
whoever you raced against got it. I think it was Carapac, but let me just... this guy's endgame.
For January, can we get some lore on how dungeoneering sucks? Dem Mangy Wolves wants to know.
We do that each week. Okay, sorry, I've just pulled it up now. Why? What did you just do? This guy's endgame. Let's go down to the bottom there. Meeting Jess.
What are we looking for again?
How the stone was.
The stone was actually destroyed. Yeah. It was destroyed in the Sliske's Endgame series, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was in Sliske's Endgame itself.
Yeah. At the end of that's what I meant to say.
Right.
Sorry.
We got there
right at the end. Anyway,
that's where we talk to.
You
keep reading.
Yeah, I'll read the next one while you do that. Change of a developer in a series. Concerned regarding whether it's up to the new writer to pursue the intentions of the original writer or not. Some stories have multiple authors when they change the tone changes, such as Game of Thrones books versus the show. When someone leaves, they don't always explain what's meant to happen. They just leave some general plot points. You have to fill everything else out yourself. The Vampire series tried to partly emulate Anna and Titan's designs. Most early quests had single authorship and as a result didn't have a coercive lore. That's why Camelot exists. These quests reference or pointed towards similar conflicting rewards and also conclude on similar themes such as new cities, which make it hard to develop as they'd be compared. The Elemental Workshop series was going to reveal the Soul Altar, but the Desert series fulfilled that need first. So that's interesting. I thought that was going to be the original place of the Soul Altar. I was really surprised to see it show up in the desert. I was really like, it's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. And then it was.
No, because that was the whole thing. I thought the Soul Altar would either have to be in sort of underneath Prifddinas, or it was going to be what the ultimate goal of that series was going to be. But it's sort of
quite
really
disappointed
it did throw me out when they
Let's see here. Voice acting. Voice acting is done on a case-by-case basis and needs to have special justifications for it to be implemented. Needle Skips was voiced due to single-line dialogue without choices and it being a secluded piece of content. Most players only stood next to the needle while doing the quest. There's a huge...
Wow.
What's up?
Most people only stood next to the needle while doing the quests.
That's
sad. That's people just miss out on so much just because they're thinking XP waste and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
It was such a good quest to actually interact with properly.
Yeah, I had a really good time with that quest. That quest took me 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's a huge cost in voice acting that goes beyond the cost to hire a voice actor. You can't change the dialogue. Needle Skips had an issue with horses, and there's nothing we can do since we can't revoice the line. If we allocate resources towards voice acting it, we probably mean cutting something else from the quest. It ruins immersion if you can't change the voice actor randomly. Voice acting has...
Well, as I said, and again, one of the things I put in the chat then, which a lot of people agree with, just pay Mod Raven to voice act over all of them.
Right? Because, yeah, just use all of your in-house people to do really bad voice acting.
Just to go back, it was Kerapak destroyed. The stone was ultimately destroyed by Kerapak during Sliskay's endgame, possibly freeing the Dragonkin from their curse.
Cool.
So,
cool.
yeah.
Voice acting has a creative point of view as it allows writers to express certain themes they'd normally struggle with. We love having it, and it's a fun process, but the benefit is not worth the cost in most cases. We could always do mumble noises for voices, jokingly. We have to be really tight with our dialogue, make it short and powerful, and change it if need be based on the voice. Sliskay's endgame would take weeks to have voice acted everything. The wiki transcript doesn't have all Sliskay's endgame dialogue yet.
That really surprised me that they haven't actually. No one's found all of the dialogue yet.
That's intense. Examples: the Combat Academy rework had issues since it was all voiced. Model pop-ups were used as a workaround. The Troll Warzone Slayer Master can't read every number and Slayer creature. A note listing the task was a workaround. Imcatch rework also had a note for its workaround.
That should be in capture too. That was the quest. You forgot to put the ER on the end of that.
Gotcha.
Sixth Age story in retrospect. Sliskay's endgame is the focus of the Sixth Age, but it's reaction based on the events of the World Wakes. By demolishing the edicts, this causes problems in existing storylines which relied on gods not existing in the game world. Not all quest issues were caused by the Sixth Age, such as with Arpasandra, the Gnome City, which was a problem regardless. Raven would still have done the Sixth Age, but changed it, but not killing any gods except for Guthix. And that, again, I mean, Guthix was the one who sort of, his death had to sort of bring in the Sixth Age. But it was interesting when they were talking about this. A lot of them didn't think we should have actually come into the Sixth Age as yet, that we weren't ready for the actual Sixth Age, and they pushed it through anyway.
When would we be ready?
When all the Fifth Age content was actually fully completed.
So like 2025?
Yeah, well, that's it. Attempted to create an end to some of those Fifth Age series, but just saying it ended or giving an excuse. Now, that to me is a very slack and lazy way of doing things. I think, and that's it. That's where the issue sort of lies, and they let people sort of come straight into the game and be able to go straight into the Sixth Age. I think the quest series should be played through, and the Sixth Age, all Fifth Age quests should have been completed. Then we do the World Wakes, and then everything after that was Sixth Age. But it's hard when we keep jumping back to, like, the Vampire series jumps back to the Fifth Age to finish. All those type of things. I love the Sixth Age and such, but I'm one who wants to see all storylines in the Fifth Age finished completely.
Wow, my voice. Totally, I agree with you. I want to see the Fifth Age all done. Yeah, I'm starting to forget.
People don't want to. Exactly, and that's the whole problem. It's just
that's a real problem. Again.
Yeah, the Gnome City, Arpasandra, and all that. They're saying, oh, well, we don't, after Menaphos, we don't want another city like it. Doesn't have to be a hub city.
Yeah.
Arpasandra just needs to be a little city that you can go to, visit, do a couple of things there, have it as have it for quests.
People will be mad if it's not. But it doesn't have to be. Make it like Goblin City, right?
Exactly right.
Cave Goblin City sucks.
The reason Sixth Age occurred was due to it being related to the RS3 brand. Part of the problem was that RS3 launch was overly ambitious. Don't get us started on age length, because the Fifth Age only went for 169 years. By calling the era the Sixth Age, it in itself becomes a big thing. We could have just left it the Fifth Age and rallied behind a new name, just as the rise of Lucian was being used during the Fifth Age. Future quest requirement issues. We still haven't decided on how to do future quest requirements. We won't have it require all 90s, but we may not have it so you have no requirements either. Currently, we are trying to find quest series on a timeline so we can make it more consistent and build upon it. Would also assist players who care about playing in a particular order.
Cool.
And that again, and that's what I mean, quest series, I think, should be played in an order, and that's why I don't think you should be able to do any of the Sixth Age quests until you've completed all Fifth Age up to World Wakes.
I believe it was Stu who's working on redoing the whole quest interface system to help players order quests so they know how to do them in what order. Yeah, that's going to be helpful for new players. He's really good about new player experience.
And I think the wiki, if the new wiki does that as if you want it that way.
Yeah. You want to grab other for me just to let my voice recharge? Because we got so much to go here. Thank you.
Other weird questions include God shipping, why an obscure thing exists, why can't I take this extreme approach, spoil stuff, please. The player isn't necessarily a good person. They thieve, they kill, they cause many problems in old quest series. The player is only a value to the world for what they can do. We are going to talk about Crystal Dragon's Rite of Passage. It hasn't been forgotten. Blank Observation and Space Cat allow you to fight the Shadow Leviathan. Even the gods are afraid of it. And we will consider Rite of Passage, Quest for Hero items, more Zaros Lawn, Queen Efarate. The Falador Massacre is probably a part of the lore, but it wouldn't be a serious plot point. And look out for lore around holiday events in a lore book provided during Violet is Blue. So that's a little interesting thing. I just want to go back, though. Mm-hmm. The Quest for Hero items, I really like that idea. Yeah, like that fishing rod and
me too.
And all that type of stuff. Just to bring in sort of and let us know what they are all about. Why we have all those type of things.
Yeah,
so,
I would love to hear lore behind them.
Exactly, because it's like, great, they're there, but what's their story? So I think we do need to look at stuff like that. I loved when because the player isn't a good person, and that's right. We pinch things, we kill, we sit there and slay thousands and thousands, and in some of us, millions of creatures.
Yeah,
that is it. And people asking, they said we're not going to spoil anything, and don't ask us for a direct thing on a certain aspect, and of course people just totally ignored.
Of course,
and kept asking for it.
They're going to see if anyone will slip. They never do. Well, Mon Osborne does, but most people don't. The rest of them don't. Anyway, shall I move on? We good? That's been your TLDW mostly for that awesome stream. That was a good stream. They did a good job. It was a lot of lore packed into such a. That was an hour and a half, a little longer than their normal streams. And now, we have some interesting information. If you're ready to move on to the next topic. I think I am. You good, Pern? I'll take that as a yes. You're I'm not getting any audio from you. I see you lighting up, but I'm not getting any audio from you. Just a heads up. So I will continue on with this harrowing moment. I see you leaving Discord, so there's obvious some minor problems with your microphone. So I will continue on. This next topic is called Unannounced RuneScape Action RPG in the works at Jagex, coming from WCCAtech.com. RuneScape, the free-to-play fantasy MMORPG originally released in January 2001 by Jagex, is still, to this date, the largest and most updated free-to-play game in the genre as recognized by the Guinness World Records. Its popularity is so great, in fact, that there is an official separate old-school version of the game for old-timers who aren't that fond of the improvements made over the years. After launching on Windows, PC, Mac, and Linux last year, RuneScape appeared on iOS and Android as well, with full cross-play compatibility. And even mobile users can pick their poison between old-school RuneScape or regular RuneScape. This is not completely true, being that RuneScape 3 is not available on mobile yet. So, lies. Although, some people have access to it, including myself, but not everyone does. So, not crazy about them saying that like that. But hey, I'm just going to clarify. Welcome back, Pern. How's your microphone? Any better? Feeling any better? Anyway. Now, it appears that a new action RPG game based on the IP is in the works at Jagex. We uncovered this while browsing LinkedIn, specifically via the resume of Nathan Richardson, who recently became executive producer on this unannounced project. So we have a picture here of his LinkedIn profile, and it names him as the executive producer on an unannounced RuneScape action role-playing game. And world domination. Yep, you are back. Welcome back. Hi.
Ah, good. I don't know what happened. I was talking, and you're just talking right over the top of me. I'm going, hang on, what's going on? And then you said, I can't hear. Ah, okay.
Yeah, okay.
That was really weird.
Back.
Yeah.
Good to have you. Yeah, so we're in the next article now. I hope that's okay, if there wasn't anything you needed to add. So we're talking about Nathan Richardson, who is currently the executive producer of an unnamed action RPG at Jagex. So that's something. So 1,000 old school reasons must have had a stroke when they said when that article said improvements. This is Action Cat. Major forgot to pull Pern's string. You always have to give him a good tug. Anyway, let me go back here. So that is. We can do one here. Richardson is an industry veteran, to say the least. He's mostly known for over 7 years of a long stint at CCP Games, where he worked first as a senior producer and then executive producer on EVE Online. He then jumped over to Tryon Worlds as vice president of development and executive producer on Defiance. After a brief period at Ubisoft Montreal, he moved again to become senior producer of Warhammer 40,000 Eternal Crusade at Behavior Interactive. The very brief description only mentions this new RuneScape will be an action RPG, suggesting it might have action-based combat instead of the traditional combat system of an existing MMO. This may also hint at a console release where action-based games are prevalent, and this would be a first for the Cambridge-based developer. That said, we'd be surprised if this project did not have plenty of MMO-like features too. First of all, that's the genre both Richardson and Jagex as a company are first and foremost familiar with. Secondly, in May of 2007, Jagex announced a partnership with Improbable to use the cloud-powered spatial iOS technology in future development project, and spatial iOS really only makes sense to be used in large-scale online games. Last but not least, CEO Phil Mansell admitted to an interview published by Games Industry earlier this year that the studio is indeed working on a next-generation MMO, though of course, we don't know if it's the same project. Because of course they could be working on multiple projects. It might be a while before we get an official announcement and reveal, but it's certainly an exciting prospect for fans to look forward to. So, is it possible that this is RuneScape remastered? Yes.
Might be.
Is this RuneScape remastered? We don't know.
And well, we know Phil Mansell is an OSRS lover, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do.
So spatial iOS is an interesting engine. I'm curious. I should do some more research on this engine. I don't know a whole lot about it. It works in Unreal and Unity. That's interesting. We know Jagex has Unity developers. Let's see here. So they've partnered with Improbable. Let's read a little bit about Improbable, shall we? Improbable believes in a future where new virtual worlds will augment human experience and become as meaningful, lasting, and rich as the physical world. We call this seismic shift in experience the multiverse self. Building new worlds is not about escapism. It is about opportunity and fulfillment through new experiences, vocations, economies, and societies. Games will play a critical part in enabling these new worlds, connecting people to incredible moments and new communities. Our first step to the multiversal self is to vastly increase the efficiency of building, operating, and discovering multiplayer games. We work and partner with exceptional people to create new realities. If you're interested in publishing the boundaries of what's possible, we want to hear from you. Improbable was founded in London in 2012 by Herman Nurala, Rob Whitehead, and Peter Lipka. We now employ more than 300 people with our headquarters in London and our offices in North America and China. Our massive scale spatial simulation technology is designed to help solve previously intractable problems. Intractable. What a word. In gaming and entertainment, this means enabling developers to create richer, more immersive, and persistent virtual worlds. Spatial iOS, our cloud-based platform and runtime for games, solves many of the traditional technical and production challenges related to making online multiplayer games. Wild, huh? I could go on and on, but
interesting.
But why? Like it's probably technical mumbo jumbo. If I keep going, right?
Does sound interesting, though.
It does sound interesting. Real-time multiplayer spatial iOS is for any game where players interact in real time, including session-based games where games match begin and end during one play session, and persistent worlds. So this game could be a persistent world game like RuneScape, or it could be a match type game like like Overwatch or Warhammer, or it could be session-based like Diablo. Who knows?
Interesting to see what we find out in the future.
Indeed. We'll keep
I'm
an
still
eye on this.
surprised that we didn't find anything out at RuneFest.
I
really thought they were going to sort of say something then about it.
The fact that this is the only we've literally found this out via a back channel of a LinkedIn profile. Like, come on. Yeah. This is not like they're keeping this from us, so, they don't want us to know about this, clearly. Anyway, we'll keep going along here. Our next topic is how to unlock the exhaust. I'm on a roll. The exhaust rest animation. If you haven't already, this is a secret rest animation. I say secret in quotations because if you read the Reddit, you probably already have seen this. But if you don't, here's how to do it. Step 1, you need a spade and a wicked hood pouch. You run from the Ardoin lodestone across the bridge to behind the tree north of the Ardoin training camp. You're going to dig 1 square north of the tree base for the rusty chest. You're going to attempt to open the rusty chest with the magical seal on it. Step 2, you're going to use your wicked hood to teleport to the top of the wizard's tower. Use the chest on the wizard Rancid, and he will take the magical seal off it, allowing you to open it. You will now have a magical feather. Clicking on the feather does nothing. To unlock the rest animation, you have to click the feather. Once you hit 0 run energy, activate the animation in the wardrobe like any other animation, and relax. There you go.
Now, anyone who has done this, if you do it, take the feather to the traveling merchant in the deep sea fishing area. and use that feather on him, you will get an ancient scroll.
Okay.
Now, we haven't figured out what to do with the ancient scroll as yet. So this looks like that might be something that maybe a monthly thing, or every week there's going to be some sort of update. But yeah, so keep that feather. Don't get rid of it once you've done it. Take it, use it on the traveling merchant. Get that scroll, and stay tuned for further details.
Yeah, hey, Super Crack. We just we're talking about the how to unlock the Exhaustion rest animation. And we
just covered. Yeah.
No, go ahead. You talk. My voice is tired.
No. Yeah, I was saying we just covered the Behind the Law special from last night, which is why we're actually recording on a Saturday today instead of the normal Friday that we're doing. We did want to cover that Behind the Law special for everyone.
Yeah. We foregoed, if that's a word, probably not. We didn't record on Friday, so we could record on so we could watch the lore special. So we record today. How nice. Okay, here we go. This is a PSA coming from Manly, who says, making Supreme Overloads into Supreme Overload salves is both convenient and yields you more potions for a very low cost. So this is a little PSA for you end gamers here who are trying to, pinch pennies, maybe save a little bit of money, or let's be a little more efficient, Mainly for myself. What's going on, Death Star? Also, welcome. So, Supreme Overload Salves is a convenient all-in-one potion that combines a Supreme Overload with a Wormfire potion, a Super Prayer Renewal, and a Super Anti-Poison. Many people, however, see it as a waste, making them because you need to add Super Anti-Fire and an Anti-Poison to it, which are not needed for the majority of PvM encounters. Here's some analysis. A 6-dose Supreme Overload cost, based off of the GE, is 90,586 GP, while the Salve is 118,721 GP. Per hour cost is about 151,000 versus 198,000, which is not so terrible to begin with. However, in most PvM encounters, you will not want to use Super Prayer Renewals anyway, so we can effectively add the Crystal Flask, Prayer Potion, and Prayer Renewal, which are the ingredients for the Super Prayer Renewals, as well as the Supreme Overload Salve, into the cost of the Supreme Overload. If we do that, the additional cost of the salve effectively becomes 13%. The effective per hour increased is only 24,000 GP, with it, which is laughably cheap. Sounds much better now. Here's another thing. You can use the modified Botanist Mask to make 5% more potions. The portable wells do not work for the combination potions, sadly, so you'll be saving 5% of the time and money associated making Supreme Overloads. I'm not even bringing potions saved by the Scroll of Cleansing into calculations, but they do save a bit as well. Thank you for the resub, Death Star. Really appreciate that. Bad news? 8R baby. Oh no, that's 10 months in a row. Appreciate that. I hope it was nutritious, though, so you can continue living on. What if you're an Iron Man? Well, you'll have to decide for yourself. Consider that it's only 3 more potions to save you a ton of others. And most of the ingredients are relatively easy to get, in my opinion. It's worth it, even if you're an Iron Man. So what are your thoughts on this, Pern? Does this sound cost effective to you?
It sort of is. I've got both in my bank. It depends what you're fighting. The Supreme Overload Salve, the anti-poison. There's not really a whole lot that bothers you with the poison. They're fantastic if you're fighting the living wyverns. They're great even for things like that's what's his name, Zamorak's boss down in Satsuroth.
That guy Krill.
Yeah, Krill Satsuroth. That's right. Good for him because he does poison you and such as well. But see, a lot of people have sort of venom blood on their augmented gear anyway. What I do love about the Salve is inventory spot saving, so you don't have to bring prayer renewals as well as the overloads because they're all in one anyway.
Yeah.
So they sort of save your inventory spot as well.
I'm all for the all-in-one solution.
Yeah.
It's a great, especially for like the cost. We're 24,000 GP. I
Yeah.
agree. If you are, again, in end game, 24,000 GP should be laughably cheap
Is
to you.
nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you're not end game, maybe that's not laughably cheap to you. But if you are end game, that should not that should hopefully be pittance.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
But the anti-poison, I think it's super anti-poison you actually need in it. So let me just have a Supreme Overload Salve. If it's just a regular anti-poison, it's fantastic. I'm trying to remember what it was.
I don't know. I've never made them before, but I got to make a ton of them because I'm going to start becoming a PVM edgelord soon.
Yeah.
I'm going to be 120 in all
Supreme
stats.
Overload, Prayer Renewal, Prayer. So, yeah, it needs a super anti-poison. So a super
That's
anti-poison, I think you need coconut milk.
That shit's
to make,
expensive.
if I remember. Which oh no, sorry, no, I lied. Super clean Irrit and unicorn horn dust.
That's easy.
So you probably made a ton of those anyway. So yeah, I would certainly say stick to. In fact, I didn't even realize that. I thought it was the one with milk in it. That's why I sort of only kept a few of those separate. So I'll probably end up converting all mine into selves anyway because I've got so many of the other ones.
So
that just makes sense. So yeah, no, definitely makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So on the flip side here, what should you do with your first 100 mil? I got one for the noobs too. A lot of the times, people get broke, as Justicus says here. I like his words. Lots of the times, some people get broke. And then there are people who return to this game, and recently you got some starting cash, right? Spending cash wisely is crucial in many ways. It's fact. It's just as important as making money. Here's how I would suggest spending your first 100 million. That's not to assume you have the 100 million cash right away. This is geared towards people who want to get the cash into combat training, then Slayer, then low-level, mid-level bosses. High-level upgrades aren't included. So here you go. First off is low-level and mid-level combat gear. To start things off, you'll need combat gear. So here's how they start off. And again, if you disagree with anything here, feel free to jump in. Again, I don't have David here, so I'm sure when David listens to this episode, I'm sure he'll have something to say.
He'll rip it apart.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
Mm-hmm. But here we go. This is what he says. He says, to start things off, you need combat gear. This will not cost you that much, since almost all gear is cheap. Tier 40 weapons, Mystic Air Staff, Dual Wield Addy Crossbow, Addy Halberd. Tier 40 armor, Split Bark Chest, Green D-Hide, Full Addy. Total cost is under 500k. You can always sell and alk it later on. Number 2 is Blood Necklace and Amulet of Fury. And the Blood Amulet of Fury. Expensive, I know, but the impact is very strong. Helps for combat and training along the way, since no soul split is required. Saves the need for eating food most of the time. Best pre-soul split healing and decent for low and mid-bossing. Unfortunately, cannot sell back. Still very versatile, and the cost is about 16.5 million. So those are obviously your two different gear options. One's extremely cheap, one's 20 million roughly. And they go into different upgrades here and whatnot. You can go through. They break down the different potions that you can go into. Anyway,
ability codexes and things as well. Don't buy them before certain levels and things.
Yep, they explain to you. Yeah, basically when you should buy things, when you shouldn't buy things. It's an interesting guide. The conclusion basically breaks down and says there's by means no any clear cut choice for obviously how to spend your money. There are several variables. How you make your money back can vary a lot. For example, if you've quested, you're going to have various different ways, like the Sun Spear and Fire Watches, up to 92 and 95 prayer. It could be a tremendous amount of money while getting prayer XP, and yada yada yada. So it depends on what you're going to put your character into as well. But so there's some decent information if you're kind of returning to the game and have mid to low level stats. This document could help you. Check out the show notes, which will be obviously attached to this show. And come New Year's, we will be launching on RunescapeWeekly.com our new wiki page, which will hopefully be an archive of all the show notes and everything, searchable and whatnot, so you'll be able to easily search that stuff, archivable.
Just a quick one before we move on. Is that thunder coming through to you?
I hope not. No, yeah, clear skies.
No. Just here the rain's just hit, and I've got thunder and lightning happening.
No, you're good.
Good.
I was like, oh, clear skies over here. I thought you meant like I had like thunder coming through my microphone.
No. Just coming here. Just making sure it's not hitting there.
Loading like a comments coming through. Actually, can say, what demographic is this guy writing to? If you have 100 million, you can only use Addy and Blood Ammy. Good chance all that money is going to just go into leveling. Yeah, I think she's trying to get you to like level your character and get like money from Slayer. I have no idea.
I think he's more writing to new players coming in, just saying, hey, as you're building up, don't worry about going for the armor and such. Concentrate mainly on your weapons, which obviously is the main thing. Just get basic armor sets and things and just build it up that way while you build up your money. And, don't worry about sort of going, go from your Addy, your Rune, whatever, then get into your Bando stuff and just sort of, just go that way. But weapons are the most important.
Yeah, if you're
leveling your Slayer, and
if you're pretty well suited in the game, the guide's not for you more than likely. But if you are just coming back to the game and you're a little confused, and you have like 100 mil lying around or something, and your stats are mid tier, you might want to check that guide out. Might be of some assistance. Alrighty, so this next post comes from I'm Rubic, and it's a valid question, but at the same time, it's also coming from somebody who I would think would know better. But I feel like it's more maybe just a rebuke than anything else. He says, Jagex, why does making an interface more mobile-friendly always mean making it less PC-friendly? The settings interface is crowded with text descriptions that make spacing completely random. The colored alternating rows make it difficult to read newly added subtext. The report button interface was recently changed and requires you select a category and continue, where before players could select a drop-down where you input a field with a text description above the input fields. There are probably more interfaces changed recently that have similar problems. I'm tired of these issues not being addressed by Jagex despite many complaints. So, yeah, definitely. This is it's struggle. It's a give and take, right? When you're messing with interfaces. I had this exact same problem when going from Windows 8 for Windows 7 to Windows 8, and why I completely skipped Windows 8 and 8.1 and waited for Windows 10 was because I felt like Windows 8 was completely built for tablet, and it pissed me off to no end because everything was a big effing tap square and everything was a drag button. Everything was made for swiping. Nothing was made for a damn desktop, and it was just painfully obvious. And there's a give and take. When you're designing an interface, there's a give and take. And I think that what they need to do here clearly is display two completely different interfaces when you're on the two different games, right? Like, why are these interfaces melding? Like, why don't we have a desktop interface and a mobile interface? Why are we? I don't know. What are your thoughts on this, Pern?
It's really difficult. I mean, they've obviously the two games have to run simultaneously, basically. So, could you dumb down one that works just on mobile and do one that for desktop? Yes, certainly. But how, when you're trying to convert people across, how is that going to work? They want to keep the feel of it as natural as possible between both formats. It's difficult. And as we said, I mean, OSRS is a game that is probably perfectly designed for mobile with its very limited interface. The problem with RS3, with all the abilities, with all the interface and the customizations and everything that happens, it's probably very, very difficult. Especially probably on an iPad, not so bad, but to try and get it on a 6-inch or 5.5-inch phone screen, it's really, really hard. So,
I get the problem though. Like, when you're messing around an interface to try and fit on mobile, and then also make it presentable on a desktop, it's not easy to do.
That's right. And that's it. For those of us who have been playing for years and years, they start messing around with our interfaces and such. That's what we're used to. That's what we want. You're going to be stuffing us around, but you also need to make sure that it's going to be totally usable and easy for those mobile people who are the new people who are coming into the game, and you want to keep and convert to being members and paying customers. So it's a difficult one to do. So
it's a give and take.
See what happens.
It's gonna take a lot of time.
Sorry. iOS, they did say early in 2019, so probably January, February before we see that.
I'm guessing February.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
Here's a random. I want to grab this one for me. Pern, my face is starting to go numb.
The random nostalgia.
Yeah, I'm getting winded from my own talking.
No, that's okay. I can take this one. Nowadays, we use lodestones to get around. Not often do I spend much time actually walking anywhere like we did back in the day. I decided to hit some hops patches around the map, and as I walked by the Champions Guild, I just had a random memory flood over me. I remember being a kid and always being so excited to train ranged and magic at the Champions Guild, only I wasn't able to access the guild. I have this vivid memory of spending so much time standing outside the fence of the Champions Guild and killing chickens with arrows, and then using telekinetic grab to get my arrows back and try to make a bit of profit off the feathers. I even had a fire I would make to cook the chicken. Huge waste of lore runes, but this was the innocent days. This memory may not mean much to a lot of you, but this is such a vivid memory of mine, spending time at the Champions Guild, killing chickens and telegrabbing the arrows and feathers.
Just the lack of lodestones.
Yeah. What I would love to see is a Wizards Revolt and destroy all the lodestones, or say, you have no access to these anymore unless you start paying us, a ton of runes to do it. I think, much as they are convenient, I think lodestones really hurt the game in that you don't walk anywhere anymore. You don't sort of have that feel. I used to love that running from Lumbridge to Varrock, and just how am I going to get there, this, that, when you're a new player, working up to get those teleports so I could get my magic up and do it direct, and it's just that sense of accomplishment. Now I go there once, unlock a lodestone, and they're free for me all the way through. When lodestones were first brought out, they actually had a magic level, to them, and then people complained, so they took that off. I remember.
Do they not anymore?
Nope, I don't believe so.
I believe they're just free. I'm gonna check on that. I feel like we've had this argument before, and I've defeated you.
I'm pretty sure on my Iron Man, I just had to go visit them all, and I was able to go right through. Pretty sure. Lodestones, I think they took it all off.
Okay, it's possible because RuneScape and it's EasyScape. So you might be right, but another thing that struck me about this story was me. I used to do this exact thing. I used to go to the Champions Guild and kill chickens for their meat and cook it and train there in the Champions Guild back when I was like 12 years old in 2001. Like, this was my gig. So mad memories hearing that story, Red. That was awesome. Let's see, lodestones.
Yeah, no, they're all free now.
Yeah, they're all free now.
There's no level requirements now.
How dare they? How dare they?
Because when they first come out, they had level requirements, and then they took them off I remember because people were screaming about it, and I said, "Well, tough," because I think they were set at a couple of levels above the actual teleport requirement. So say the Camelot teleport was level 45, you had to be level 48 to be able to use the lodestone, but they took that off. So
that's stupid.
Yep.
Oh well, whatever. Someday there will be new challenges, hopefully.
Yeah, but that's it. I mean, yes, they are a convenience, but they shrunk what is really a pretty small world. They shrunk it even more.
Hopefully, we'll make the world bigger. Add more to the world. That's what I say.
Yep.
Anyway, we got one more topic for the day. The best topic saved for last.
I love this one.
This topic is entitled "Always Use 4G in the Office." So this appears to be a termination card. And it says here, everything's blurred out except for this part where it picks up and says, additionally, on December 3rd, 2018, an audit of the product department employees' use of electronic equipment during work hours was performed. On this report, blank appeared playing the RPG game RuneScape during work on 12 occasions during the month of November. This is again in direct violation of, redacted, acceptable use policy. So, 12 occasions during they were terminated. They were given 12 chances. 12 chances. And they were terminated after 12 different chances. That's
12 chances. Always, he's played 12 different occasions.
Oh yeah,
if it's during work hours, it's
it was logged 12 times more than likely. He probably wasn't given 12 chances.
But the funny thing is, because he's probably just doing AFK, so he's probably logged on. He's just fishing or something like that while he's doing his work.
Yeah, more than likely.
And so he hasn't actually been not working, but when you see someone logged on and on there for hours at a time, it's like, that's sorry, not up.
The thing is RuneScape uses like tiny amounts of bandwidth. It's not like you're actually wasting any amount of bandwidth for the office. Like if you're using you're pirating stuff, obviously you're wasting actual bandwidth and you're doing something illegal. But you're playing RuneScape, you're taking up like 2 megabytes an hour, and you're you're fishing in the background, and you're still doing your work, right? So whatever. Yeah. You're this poor guy sucks. But hey, I myself I've told the story. I've faked tripped over my cord and ripped cords out of the wall at work before to not get caught playing RuneScape at my desk.
That's so funny.
Because hell, I'm not gonna get caught playing RuneScape. That's a termination offense. I've rigged VPNs. Hell yeah. Anyway, that's who's ready for the new live read.
Yes.
Yeah, rip to that guy.
Go for it.
Thank you to everyone, by the way, who came out for this Saturday edition of RuneScape Weekly, a rare Saturday edition of RuneScape Weekly. I'm now going to head out and pick up a tree, stick it in the living room, and put lights on it.
I spent the day wrapping Christmas presents today.
That sounds fun.
No, not really. But
yeah.
Monday, I'm off to the barrister again.
Oh, yeah? Good luck.
Yeah. Another 3-hour sit down with him.
How have you not just, beaten that man?
No, this is the barrister now, the solicitor.
Oh, okay. Is that the person who helps you?
Or this is the one who now basically goes, because it's got to go to court, because basically they've said, you have that 5% permanent disability, so you're not able to work, but we're only going to allocate 3% to the injury you're claiming and 2% to an injury you did back in 2008, which was still done at work. And my barrister said, he says, I'm sitting there going, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? He goes, actually, this works out even better for us because it's showing a thing of negligence through the company where they're not looking after the staff properly. So I said, good. But it just means rather than just sitting down with the with their guy and just saying, nutting out, okay, just how much money we're going to pay. We now actually have to go to court, go before a judge, do the full hearing, present all the evidence, and get it all that way. Which he reckons I should get more money out of it that way, but still, it's like
the whole process.
If it had been done the other way, it's guaranteed. This way, it's now in front of a judge. So if he, if he's having a bad mood or doesn't like me or something like that, he can say, "Yeah, well, screw you."
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, I hope that works out for you.
We'll wait and see. Yeah.
I'm hoping.
So am I.
I can imagine.
I'm starting to run out of money.
I feel you. Anyway, I will. Let's flip over to the end cap card here real quick.
We will.
I'll fade us out.
Now, everyone, nice and quiet for this for him because we've done one dry read. Now this is the proper one, so I'm going to mute myself and let him go for it.
Yeah, right. Let's see if I can actually do this on a single outtake here. I already called it an outtake, so that's good. All right. I got to get out of my own head, though. If I'm in my head, then it has to come naturally. If I'm thinking about it, then it's a problem. So you can't be like, "Hey, Magebit, perform an outro." That's not how outros happen. So now I'm just going to do some agility and not even think about it because that's how it is. But anyway, what do I have coming up? Am I doing anything that I need to announce? I don't immediately think so. We got the end of the year show coming up. I haven't scheduled a date for it. Let me look at the calendar. Obviously, the 31st is a Monday, so New Year's Eve is a Monday. That's weird. So that would make, I don't know, we might be able to pull that on a Sunday then? Maybe we do the end of the year show on a Sunday if that's possible. I'll see.
I'm open for any of those.
Yeah, I'll see what happens. I'll talk to some people and I'll get back to everyone. Yep. I'll start PMing. I'll do it everyone. I'll yell at everyone in the staff room and I'll see who gets back to me. Anyway, in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We got a Facebook page for you, facebook.com/RSWeekly. Twitter for you as well, twitter.com/RSWeekly or at RS Weekly. We got a Discord for you as well, runescape.chat. Toss that into your web browser for you there. And if you can, please rate us or review us on iTunes. And if you can, subscribe to us on YouTube and like the video if you enjoyed this episode. You can find us in-game, Kill, Skill, and Chill. That's Kill, Skill, the letter N, Chill. And on the web, runescape.club. That's our clan information. RuneScape.expert, that's my progress. Yep. RuneScape.video, that is our YouTube channel. RuneScape.today, that's the podcast archives. And RuneScape.chat, again, that is our Discord channel. If you'd like to help out the show, you can do so by going to patreon.com/RuneScape. You can also do a one-time donation if you want, feeling maybe festive, want to help out for the holidays. PayPal.me/RSW. Would greatly appreciate that. Big special thanks to our top Patreon supporters, Sudwood and Ricky A. Thank you so much. And to our other 13 supporters. Greatly appreciate that as well. You can support us over at patreon.com/RuneScape. Again, you can get blogs, pre-shows, and more. Head over there. There's already some free pre-shows available. I checked. I actually posted on Twitter over there. You can check some of those out. There already is some free content available at patreon.com/RuneScape. And on the end of January, another slew of free pre-shows will hit there. So yeah, it pays, even if you're not, to head over to patreon.com/RuneScape to get bonus content. Anyway, we'll be back to do it again next week. So head over and check us out on all of our fun stuffs. And we'll see you to do it all again next week. So see you then, and as always, happy scaping. Stay tuned for a rerun on Twitch if you missed anything.